Hola and welcome back to my original YouTube channel since 2020 here at Benidorm and beyond. Today I'm taking you on the beautiful walk from the Rincon de Loix all the way to the historic Torre de Caletes watchtower, which is situated on the Punta del Caval or Caval Point. On our way we'll pass two beautiful coves, firstly Cala Almadraba and secondly Cala Tiochimo. There and back the journey is about 5 kilometres in total or just over 3 miles. This straightforward route is something you may fancy doing when you're here, and it forms part of the Sierra Alada Nature Park, and the easy to follow tarmacked path takes walkers and cyclists through part of this park to the ruins of the watchtower. The sea will accompany us on one side while the mountains are there on the other. We started right down on the beautiful Levante beachfront with the waves gently lapping and overlooking the coast and the cable ski. And then as we approached the Hotel Nadal, right at the end of the bay, we headed up a slope to the left of the hotel, which soon becomes a series of rather steep steps. As this video is quite long, with some parts sped up to keep you interested, but still very lengthy, I'll be telling you what you will see along the way, rather than commenting on what you are viewing in real time, and I really hope you enjoy this beautiful and interesting nature walk with me, full of gorgeous views. Continuing uphill and passing the side entrance to the Hotel Beni Cactus and its sea view terrace and bar on the right, at the top of the steps we'll turn right to head even further and more steeply uphill. Here we'll pass the main entrance to the 3-star Beni Cactus, which is currently ranked 61st out of the 174 hotels listed in Benidorm on TripAdvisor UK, and which has a guest rating of 3.8 out of 5, placing it in the good category, although as a lot of Spanish use this hotel, especially in the winter months, this is based on less than 800 reviews in English. On our left, we will next see the imposing apartment block of Edificio Don Miguel II, which has a mixture of both residential and holiday accommodation inside, like many buildings here. And as you will see, due to its high up position on the side of the mountain, you actually access it from this level via steps and then a bridge, so quite unusual in that sense for sure. As we continue on, we'll then pass the old 3-star Hotel Lido, which is now marketed as the Lido Apartments, and then after walking by a couple of other blocks, we will see the twin towers of the ill-fated Gemelos 28 buildings, which were built without the proper permissions for construction so near to the coastline. And although the apartments were finished, bought up and are now owner-occupied, a legal battle is still raging on as to when they will be demolished, with the latest update back in February having the judge deem a demolition plan must be put into place, although maybe not into action, within 6 months. At the end of this stretch, we will then see the Bahia Blanca Cafe and Restaurant in its prime location, which opens from Tuesday through until Sunday, and which offers a gorgeous sunny terrace as well as a cool and modern glassed-in interior, as well as stunning views. And this will bring us to the headland point of Punta Licera, where you can stand and look out to the majestic Peacock Island and the clear turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, and also, like I did, maybe spot one of the regular ferries going over to the island, which you can catch from the port in the old town just behind the palm tree-filled Dove Park. Heading further up and around the corner, just following the path, we will next get our first glimpse of Cala Almadraba, which is made up of fine sand and rocks and is a popular place for sunbathing, swimming and diving. The beach area is 100 metres long, and its calm and transparent waters, which are full of aquatic life, make it an ideal place for snorkelling. To access it, you must walk down a few steps, then across the countryside, so make sure you wear appropriate footwear if you don't want to stub your toe, or worse. And incidentally, the name Almadraba is the word for a traditional form of fishing or netting fence used to catch tuna that was invented by the Phoenicians more than 3,000 years ago. Slightly further along the coast and upwards, we will then pass the second stunning cove of Cala Tiochimo. This is a smaller bay of only 60 metres, and again it offers crystalline waters and a small section of shore. Cars can be driven down quite close to the beach access point, but parking is very limited, so it may be best to park slightly further away on Punta de Pinet and walk all the way down instead. Both of the aforementioned coves are well-known nudist spots, so do be aware in case of any unwanted surprises. Carrying on and up, we will then pass the large white complex of duplexes that perch on the side of the mountain, which are called Villa Marina. This is now officially the Rincon Alto or higher Rincon, and although to live here you would certainly need a car, many holiday lets are also available within the well-kept development, which can also be accessed from the rear on the road that would eventually lead up to the cross. If you're thinking of following in my footsteps next time you're here, as you can see, there are brown tourist info signs along the way, pointing you to the Torre de Caletes where we're going today, as well as other interesting coves, points or hiking or cycling routes. And then eventually we'll officially enter the natural park of the Sierra Alada, which is the mountain range we're about to ascend, and now we really walk up and up. As we continue along the route, you'll see the sun streaming over the mountains, and we'll see the odd ruined building amongst the old scrubby terraces, which show the last traces of this ancient irrigation method for dry land that the Moors introduced to Spain many years ago. If we look even higher up, we can just see the cross way up above us, keeping an eye on the whole of Benidorm from its viewpoint on Calle Taiwan. And I published the full walk up to this iconic landmark just a couple of months ago, so if you fancy taking that full stroll with me too, then just search Benidorm and Beyond Cross Full Walk on YouTube and we can walk together again. Back to today's hike, as you will see, the route is on very easy terrain and is hugely popular. And along the way you are more than likely to see cyclists, joggers, fishermen and hikers, as well as many people like me just strolling along or walking their dogs. Up until a few years ago, you could drive your car right along to the watchtower where we're headed, but once the area was declared a natural reserve, local authorities decided to close the route to vehicles to protect the flora, fauna and the tower because of its historical value. With regard to the fauna that you might see along the way, there are many yellow-legged gulls in this area, swallows in springtime who do not stop singing and shrieking while they flutter about, and if you are lucky, you might even spot a hawk or two that sometimes come out to hunt for food and are a fabulous sight to see. It's also probable that you will see cormorants at the base of the cliff, either in the coves or flying along the sea. But if you're really lucky, you may even see a family of dolphins swimming by, although sadly, after many years of walking by the sea and up in the mountains, I have never seen any yet. Have you? The flora, or plant life, mainly consists of pine trees, which are scattered around the ravines and over the mountainside. This is mainly due to the fact that it's a dry, sunny, shadeless area and is typical of the region, although I was lucky enough to spot a few small pockets of colourful wildflowers, which always brighten up the route. Most of the ground is covered by esparto grass, which is a tough, coarse, spiky grass that likes this kind of environment, and here and there you can also usually see lavender, thyme and sea fennel. At past the 20-minute mark, we will finally be rewarded with our first glimpse of the Les Caletes watchtower, which is also known as Torre Seguro or Torre Punta del Caval. The tower has been declared an official National Heritage Site due to its significant cultural interest. At the base of the cliff, there are fossilised sand dunes formed over 75,000 years ago, and another reason that the area was declared a nature reserve. The Torre Caletes is now in ruins, and added to the fact that it's on the edge of the cliff, it's advised not to get too close to it in case of collapse or landslide. However, with the addition in recent years of wooden steps up to it with plenty of handrails, it's a lot easier to enjoy this area than you might think at first glance. And several information boards are dotted around too, although a bit faded now, so that you can learn about what you're viewing if you're so inclined. So, for those of you who are interested, now for the history bit. Back in the early 1600s, the authorities of the time, in particular King Felipe II, ordered dozens of watchtowers to be built along the Levante coast to avoid the constant threat of Berber pirates. Benidorm at the time was located in the small walled town in the area known as El Canfali that we now know as the area by the main Catholic church on the headland at the very top of the old town. The king's engineer, Juan Bautista Antonelli, was in charge of planning the network of towers and fortifications. Aguilo Tower in La Cala de Villajoyosa, the walls of the castle of Benidorm, the tower which we're talking about today, and to the north the Bombarda Tower next to Albir Lighthouse all date from that period. Les Caletes Tower, or Tower of the Coves, is so named because it's located in a strategic point to watch the small bays, or calas in Spanish, where pirates used to hide. These coastal watchtowers were usually guarded by 2 men on foot and 2 on horseback, who were responsible for the vigilance and transmission of alerts to other towers and castles, mostly by bonfires. The Tower of Caletes, or alternatively the Punta del Caval, has been a site of cultural interest since 1996 and is managed by the General Directorate for Sustainability of the Coast and Sea. The structure belongs to the coastal defensive system created in the first half of the 16th century by the Spanish crown, as I just mentioned, for the defence of the coastal front against corsair or pirate ships from Algiers, Tunisia and Genoa. This system of medieval origin was managed and maintained by the Coast Guard, an institution that organised the territory into requerimientos. The Caletes Tower was part of the requerimiento of La Villajoyosa. Inside, an exceptional set of archaeological findings was made, including a fully documented discovery of organic remains, which is unusual given the nature of the site. This sole existing example was of great interest to the authorities who discovered it, as it allowed them to discover aspects of the everyday life of the people charged with coastguarding against the attacks in a time when the sea had become the kingdom's new frontier. The tower has a circular floor plan made of irregular masonry joined with lime mortar. Its diameter is 10.5 metres with a maximum height of 8.5 metres. At one end it has a spur, a semi-pyramidal stone structure which serves to balance the slope on which it's located, lending stability to the tower. As part of its restoration, some walls have been reinforced, mortars have been removed and the masonry has been consolidated. To recover the missing circular geometry, the volume of the tower's third ring has been increased from its original size, and more detailed info on this is given on the info board should you visit and understand it, which I have to say I don't. For mortars, traditional materials such as lime have been used and fine aggregates have been combined with gravels and boulders, with the original mixtures and their colouring having been retained. In order to avoid loose blocks coming away and to keep the stability of the tower, the surface of the rock has been supported by fiberglass bolting as well as protective mesh in the upper third of the cliff. In all likelihood, when the tower was built, it was possible to walk fully around its perimeter. However, the detachment of blocks from the cliff face has caused part of the surface of the massif to be lost, which has led to its current state. The slope has developed in such a way that its upper edge is practically aligned with the foot of the tower. The Caletes Tower is located in an extremely strategic point, on the edge of the 62-metre high cliff at the foot of the Sierra Alada Mountains, with its entrance situated above floor level in order to hinder access to it and of course improve its defence. Both the Bay of Benidorm and its islet could be easily held from the top of the tower, while at the same time allowing visual communication and communication by means of horse-ridden couriers with the Torre Bombarda to the north. Throughout its history, the tower suffered several attacks until its final destruction during the Spanish War of Independence, when after the French withdrawal from Benidorm, the English, quote, also bombarded the towers of Alquilo and Caletes, throwing its cannons into the abyss and setting fire to it as they retreated. They did not, however, burn it completely, thanks to the tower keepers hidden in the nearby cave of Asno, who brought the fire under control when the arsonists left and saved part of its burned walls. So now you know. As you look out serenely over the Mediterranean and along the coast of neighbouring Algiers, I'm sure you'll find it as peaceful and breathtaking a spot as I do, with the only sounds being the cawing seagulls as they whirl overhead and maybe the bump 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 of a group of jet skis speeding over the Med out to sea in front of the imposing Peacock Island. Now all I'll have to do is repeat the walk but in reverse and head back down to the stunning Levante seafront. Maybe via a cocktail or two in the Bahia Blanca bar, which we passed towards the beginning of this video, or down on the beachfront promenade of Avenida de Madrid in one of the very smart pubs or bars, or even on the terrace of the Hotel Nadal, which is a personal favourite of mine. I really hope that you enjoy taking this delightful walk with me today, and if you do like this video, I would ask that you please give it a thumbs up and like it, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so. And also help me out by watching some of my other great videos, which include more street and beachfront walks, reviews on some of Benidorm's most popular hotels with a sneaky peek inside and out, which can be found by searching Benidorm and Beyond on YouTube, followed by the words fly on the wall look and the name of the hotel you are interested in, along with loads of news on new cafes, bars and businesses and building work and just about anything else I can think of too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you out and about on Benidorm streets or mountain paths next time. Bye for now, adios, and catch you here again soon. Cheers!
you.